So this is the first vote that was split between YouTube and the website, and narrowly, with just 53% of the vote.
God.
Whoa!
Give me the ally. Hey guys, welcome back to Handheld Showdown, our bracket-style competition pairing the best gaming handheld consoles available right now against each other to crown the champion of 2025.
In the last episode, we started with 8 consoles and asked you to vote on which 4 should progress through the semifinal.
A massive thank you to those who participated. We received thousands of votes across YouTube and tomsguide.com, and today, the winners will be revealed.
In this next round, we'll need your help again to decide which console should go through to the final. But, just like last time, Paul and I will be hashing out the matchups first.
So Tony, how do you think the first round went?
Well, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really cool just pitting all these together and just comparing them. But I really like the fact that the fans got really into it in the comment section. Like everybody was, it was like an actual conversation.
And it was cool how people were actually explaining like their own personal rankings as opposed to just saying like, oh, this one's the best and you're dumb.
Yeah.
Like you guys were actually engaging there, so that was really awesome. And we can't wait to see what kind of interaction we can get from this video.
So are you ready to find out who's made it into the final 4?
So first up in our bracket, we had the ROG Ally X versus the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, a few of you actually came at me for describing the Switch 2 as the most comfortable, which I actually still stand by for longer sessions. The lads at 128KB pointed out that they think this actually has the worst ergonomics and suggested if you combine it with a specific grip, it could fix the ergonomics to account for the asymmetrical stick layout, which would make it more comfortable. Now, hear me out. Undisputed, this is the lightest. And when I think of comfortable, it's not just about like the gaming itself, it's also about where am I taking this? If I'm taking this on the go, I want something that's super lightweight that I can just stick in my backpack for a long period of time.
Yeah, like I understand where they're coming from, you know, as far as like ergonomics, like this is just kind of flat. Like the other ones are actually better designed for your grip, but this is the lightest handheld we have here. That alone makes it more comfortable to hold.
By a lot. Okay, so let's reset here. The Switch 2 versus the ROG Ally X, which one do you think is going through?
I hope it's not the Switch 2. I really hope it isn't, but it's the most popular one, so I'm like, oh man, are they gonna pick the Switch 2? Ooh.
After combining the votes from our YouTube and the website with an impressive 67%, the ASUS ROG Ally beats the Nintendo Switch 2 and advances to the final 4.
I don't know why I'm so upset about this.
No, you guys are awesome. This is what I wanted to see. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. We have the best YouTube viewers out there. Yes. Yeah, can you tell I'm excited about that?
You're a little excited. It's not like the Ally X is a bad handheld. It's maybe I just had so much higher expectations for it when like it was rumored.
Yeah.
And the Switch 2, I mean, it appeals to like the different demographics, and I feel like even though it's the one I've had the least experience with, it just felt like the most unique in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is the most unique, but it's also like the clear outlier here. You know, it's like
it's the underdog.
This is not for
in a way,
PC gaming, which is what you want all these for.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with everything you said about the ROG Ally X. It is iterative, but all those things still, in my opinion, make it better than the Switch. I could play Steam games, Windows 11 games. I have the full breadth of everything there. And again, this is a cool system, but this is really if you're like a hardcore Nintendo guy.
100%.
You know, so this is why, again, cool system, but that's why I wanted the ROG Ally X win, and I'm very, very happy. So I'm good.
Next in the bracket were the Steam Decks. A lot of people were amping up the OLED, but I found this one comment really interesting. I bought a Steam Deck OLED for me in 2023. My wife is not that much of a gamer. She was enjoying the Switch Lite, so I got her the Steam Deck LCD summer of 2024, and she loved it.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think that's kind of like the point there. The Steam Deck LCD is a really great introductory system.
Yeah.
You're not as concerned with performance. You're probably not as concerned with the differences in the screen quality, especially if you're just, like we said last time, trying to get your feet wet in PC gaming. Yeah. The Steam Deck LCD is still a really great deal.
Yeah, I know. Again, it's easy for people to maybe overlook the LCD because like OLED's all nice and fancy or whatever, but it's still a great system. You're still getting the same basic experience as far as performance and battery life. So I'm not surprised by that at all.
So with that, which one do you think is going through?
I think it's gonna be the OLED. Again, that screen really grabs people.
Okay, so after tallying the votes with a dominating 91%, the Steam Deck OLED takes it.
Yeah.
That's no shock there. 91% though,
That's
Paul.
huge, though.
91%. See, I would have thought we would be like maybe 75 to 25. No, 91. Telling you, man, people like their OLEDs.
OLED's great, though, but like you can't deny that this offers great value still.
Yeah, I mean, I still use my original one, but the people I've spoken.
Next up, I know this is your baby. We've got the Legion Go S with SteamOS versus my baby, the ROG Ally. You nervous?
Yes, because I don't think my baby's gonna make it through, but we'll see.
Okay, this is the first vote that was split between YouTube and the website, and narrowly, with just 53% of the vote.
God.
Whoa!
Give me the Ally.
The Lenovo Legion Go S
Well,
takes
let's
it.
go! Yeah! I'm surprised.
That's disappointing.
Look at that. No, oh, you guys made my day. Thank you for that. I was like scared, bruh. Woo!
No,
look how reluctant
we
Paul
need
is right
we
now.
need a recount.
Look how reluctant he didn't want to put it on there, bro.
Ugh.
Yeah, you did that with such hesitancy, man. That really hurt you.
I'm not happy.
And I honestly thought I was going to lose because it's like the newest kid on the block, right? But again,
I think that's the only reason I
SteamOS
won.
Yeah. No, I think it's because of SteamOS.
It's just the price difference, and the performance is basically the same. And a lot of people agreed with it. They're like, hey, you can install SteamOS on here in like 20, 30 minutes.
yeah,
in a
but
much
it's
smaller.
still, you still have to go through that, though.
Yeah,
I don't want to go through that.
I mean, I would love for someone to pay me $300 for 30 minutes of work. I'd be
Yeah.
happy to do that. Yeah, sign me up. And finally, that leaves us with the Lenovo Legion Go and the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. Two Windows machines, a lot of love out there for both devices. Which one do you think is going through?
Even though the Lenovo Legion Go is the most unique handheld we have out here, I don't even think this one's a contest. I think it's going to be the MSI Claw.
Let's see.
Okay, this vote is split again between YouTube and the website,
What?
with the same slim margin of 53%.
Wow.
The MSI Claw 8 AI Plus defeats the Lenovo Legion Go.
Okay. Humanity, or hope in humanity, has been restored.
Well, you finally got a win, Paul. I'm happy for you.
I think that's a well-deserved win, but I'm surprised that it was that close.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
I would have thought that people would be like, oh, I thought more people would lean towards better performance,
Yeah, no, apparently. I
but
think,
with a larger
yeah.
gap.
No, I think just, again, the MSI Claw just looks like a regular standard handheld. You know, the detachable controls may be a little too weird for people. And it's also possible, we know the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is going to be coming out later this year, so maybe they're like, nah, let's not do that. But I'm still surprised it was that close.
Do you think there's a bit of recency bias to this?
Yeah, there is, but I'm actually not surprised, right? Because all of these systems, like, they took what the original console did and just made it better, right?
So I get that, and maybe it's just me. Actually, it's not just me. I've seen a couple of you in the comments also agreeing with this, but like I come to this from the value perspective.
Okay, yeah.
So when I look at these handhelds, like, okay, this is the best value with the best screen, like overall for like a lot of people. This one, the reason I thought this would go through is like, yeah, for bang for my buck, this is the best performance I can get for like $400. Like nothing else is going to come close to it.
Yeah, but this is why I think we got such different responses, because it depends on what you're coming at it from, right? You're looking at like best value. I'm looking for best experience. Even that experience costs you a little bit more.
So the final four is set. We have the ASUS ROG Ally X versus the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, and the Steam Deck OLED versus the Lenovo Legion Go S with SteamOS.
With SteamOS.
All right, let's kick things off with the ASUS ROG Ally X versus the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. For this round, we're going to get more into the device specs as well as some of the intangibles that we think make it better than its opponent. So, Tony, take us through the benchmarks with the ASUS ROG Ally X.
Right, so the big story here is the weight and the display. Display on the ROG Ally X is 7 inches, and this in turn gives you a smaller handheld, which is easier to hold. It weighs a pound and a half, which is like perfect. Not only will you not feel it too much when you're holding it, but also if you slip it into your backpack, you're not gonna feel it when you're carrying it around.
Good point.
And the other big difference is the chips that they have. This has the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme, which I found has pretty good performance overall. I usually like to set games at like medium settings, 720p, and I generally get between 30 and 45 frames a second, depending on the game. Sometimes I can actually get a little bit higher, so I found the performance is pretty good. 80 watt-hour battery, so you know you get it, which is kind of standard now, but that also gives you decent enough battery life. Battery life that's at least comparable to a gaming laptop. Like when we tested it, it lasts roughly around 3 hours, but in real world testing, it really lasts around 2, which is kind of what you would expect, but you know,
Still above average.
Still above average, you know. But again, it depends on the kind of game. Cyberpunk will drain a lot faster than something like Ninja Turtles, for example. But here's where it gets interesting. Price-wise, this might have been the winner before because it was $799, but currently, at the time of this recording, it is $899. So a little bit more. The main reason I would actually recommend this console is because of the battery life and the portability.
100%. I think when it comes to playing these two handhelds side by side, the first thing you'll notice is that size and weight difference. Even just like 30 minutes in, you definitely notice the extra weight here, but with great weight comes great performance. And I mean, that really is the story with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. So let's first look at the design. Yeah, it's about 1.75 pounds. So like I said, a little heavier, but we've also got a larger 8-inch 16 by 10 display. So not only is it larger by an inch, you actually have a little bit more screen real estate at the bottom there. And some games do support that extra resolution, but it's also more immersive when you're using this as, you know, like a laptop replacement on the go. If you're crazy like that, you can actually see more of your icons and your desktop. But in addition to that, like I said, we're getting more performance. So you touched on this already, Z1 Extreme versus the Intel Core Ultra 7 258V. When this originally came out, like there were only like a few titles where it was barely getting a little bit more frames per second than the Ally X. Now it's consistently like across the board. It's either on top or even better than the ASUS ROG Ally X, and that's the main point here.
The fact that they both cost the same is really like, you got to get down into the nitty gritty of what you really value. If you want to get better performance, you may want to bump the games down to 720p resolution, which actually looks, I would say, decent on the 7-inch screen versus an 8-inch screen where they could start looking a little bit muddy.
I would disagree. I don't think that inch difference is going to be too noticeable when it comes to playing the games. Maybe in your experience,
I notice it. You know, I know some people may, but I notice.
I personally haven't. I think when it comes to me playing on the go, I do prefer having the larger screen at the end of the day. For a lot of the games, I feel like I'm able to get 1080p medium settings as well, and I'm still able to consistently hit that sweet spot of like 30 to 45 frames per second.
Yeah.
And especially with frame gen on, like you can easily get to like around 60 now in a lot of great titles.
Yeah, with the games that support it.
When you're comparing these two consoles, do you want something that's a little bit smaller,
easier to travel with,
still really great battery life, or for the same price now, especially now that this has gone up $100, do you want the ultimate performance? And that's exactly what you get with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus.
Even though I think the ROG Ally X has a lot of things going for it, at the end of the day, if I'm being honest, I got to go with the MSI Claw. Like on paper, like it's like just better, and even using it is just better. No shade to ASUS here, but you know that's what I would pick. I would pick the MSI Claw.
Better hardware.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's pretty clear which handheld we think should go to the final stage. But do you agree with us?
Head to the poll in the post tab in the channel after you watch the video to cast your vote.
Has Tony made the better argument for the ASUS ROG Ally X, or are you going to side with me and send the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus through? I think this one's an easy vote.
And second, we have the Steam Deck OLED versus the Legion OS with SteamOS.
The Steam Deck OLED is the higher seed, so let me give you the benchmarks here. So right off the bat, we have one of the strongest reasons to buy the Steam Deck OLED, the OLED display.
The OLED, yep.
Yeah, so it's got a 7-inch 720p display, which, yes, is maybe a little bit underpowered compared to some of these other devices here, but that OLED, man, I mean, you made me try it out not too long ago, and side by side with these other devices, it just has so much more pop. It looks incredible, and it's only 1.4 pounds, so it's also one of the lightest that we've had in our bracket. And in hand, I do think this is a really great device to play for a long period of time. Just all the buttons are in the places that I'd want them to be. And let me ask you this, do you use the trackpads a lot?
I don't, but it actually is very responsive, especially if you're playing like an RTS game. You gotta like scroll around and stuff. It's pretty responsive, and it also has trackpads, which some of the other devices we've been talking about don't.
In terms of performance, this is where things might be a little bit lopsided. We've got the AMD custom APU, which you'll only find in the Steam Deck. And yeah, it's starting to show its...
Yeah, that APU is pretty, it's a grandpa APU at this point
It's
now.
starting to show its age. It's still good for more indie titles, some AAA games, but you're definitely going to have to dial down the settings quite a bit. I mean, it's not going to change like the pop or brightness of your display. It's going to mean the actual graphics in your games aren't just going to be as high quality. So in terms of the immersive experience, you do lose out on that, but if your games don't require those high settings and you prioritize having just like an incredible display that's not only going to look great indoors but also outdoors, because I think that's a really big benefit with OLEDs. And if it matters to you, that also meant we could shave off 0.1 pounds from the original LCD.
Yeah, so because of the OLED, which is really cool.
Ever so slightly more portable. So
Listen, it makes a difference.
It does.
That 0.1 makes a difference.
Moving on to battery, it's kind of a mixed bag here. We've got one of the smallest at just 50 watt hours.
Yeah, smaller capacity.
But again, you're probably playing games at lower settings, and the optimization that you get with SteamOS and running Steam Deck verified games, you're probably not, drawing as much power from this.
16 gigs of RAM was fine when the Steam Deck originally came out, but now we're getting 24,
with
32.
A lot of these AAA games, you need more RAM. Like I think 24 gigabytes is starting to become like the minimum. 32 gigabytes is like a really nice spot. But one maybe redeeming factor about this is the price. It's still relatively affordable, even though we have the nicer display. Pricing for the 1 terabyte model is $649.
Which still very affordable compared to some of the others.
Relatively, yeah. I'd say so.
Okay, so you made some great points. Now I'm going to dispute you on some of those. But at the end of the day, it is aging hardware, despite how great the OS is. And if you do want SteamOS, you actually have a better machine with the Lenovo Legion OS. I said this before many times that I want the specs of the ROG Ally X with SteamOS, and this is literally that. Let's start off with the display, which is 8 inches versus 7 inches for the Steam Deck, which could be a deciding factor right there. It is still LCD, whereas that's OLED. So
yeah, this still looks way better.
Yeah, so yeah, in some cases it will look better, but this is a lot bigger. You have more room just to play with. And also 16:10 display, which is really good.
Just like the Claw.
Just like the Claw, which is really good. This is actually very reminiscent of the Claw in a lot of ways. It's running SteamOS. It is a little bit heavier though, at 1.6 pounds. You will feel that after a while. But I also really love the design, despite the fact that it's so heavy. The D-pad is really cool. It's like raised. The analog sticks are great, and this also has like trigger locks on the back, so if you're playing a first-person shooting game, you could get more precise, shooting there, which is really cool.
Yeah, I don't think we've touched on that yet, but this is the only handheld on the list that has that.
Yeah, it has trigger locks. Again, yeah, it's a very unique thing.
It's a must for playing shooters for me now, so I'm glad that it has that.
Yeah, but obviously, if you're playing a racing game, you don't want the trigger lock, so you can just depress it. Really cool feature. This also has a touchpad, but as you can see, it's very tiny.
I never use
that. I wouldn't recommend it. I love this system, but I wouldn't recommend using that tiny little thing.
But what kind of performance can you get out of it?
Right. No, performance is great. You have the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme chip, which is like, it's been around for a while, but it's way more performant than this. What is that? 4 years now. The Zen 2 chip. So you also have 32 gigs of RAM, which you admit is like the bare minimum standard they have now. And in my play testing, like you have to play around with the settings a little bit. Generally, at medium settings and 1080p, I could get like between 40, maybe 50 frames a second, depending on the game. So the performance is just fantastic. This has a 55 watt hour battery capacity compared to 50, so that's not a lot on paper.
It's also kind of disappointing when you look at like the Ally X.
Yeah, no, and some of the other ones we've tested, right? They're 80 watt hours, and you would figure they could fit that in here, but I guess maybe to keep the cost down, they have a smaller battery capacity, which is kind of troubling. And even in my testing, it generally lasted about like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. So not the greatest. I'm kind of disappointed by that aspect,
so when talking about
honest.
like, obviously we've got roughly, 50 versus 55.5, I feel like that's pretty equal, but we've got a smaller but OLED display here, but an older, a 4-year-old chip versus a 2-year-old chip. that maybe is a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, I will say that though, even though the battery life may be somewhat on par, this is a bigger machine with a different chip. So I'm actually kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the battery life isn't as bad, because you would think with a bigger machine, the battery life might drain even faster than on that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about price. This is marked at $829, but currently at the time of this recording, it's $50 less, so a little bit less expensive, but that is still way more than this guy. Even though this configuration is expensive at, at its price point, the combo of the Ryzen Z1 Extreme chip and SteamOS just sends this over the top. This is the handheld to get, in my opinion.
All right, so there you have it. Which two devices do you think are gonna make it through to the final? Now it's all in your hands, so check out the poll posted on the channel and at tomsguide.com to vote for which device you wanna send through.
Keep the comments coming as well. It's been great to interact and see all the discussion happening around the handhelds.
Don't forget to come back for the next episode of Handheld Showdown, and until then, you can find us everywhere at Tom's Guide, and you can follow Tony and me if you wanna see what other gaming tech we're checking out. Until then, we'll catch you later. Under the hood, you are actually getting more.
Yeah. I mean, again, for the camera, I was trying to prop this up, but as I was looking through this, I was just like, like, this is the clear winner.
Yeah, better value too.
Yeah.